Okay, so thanks everybody. So I'm Isaline, and I was not the only one to do this project. It was Daria, Stephanie, Tom, and Thierry, and we all helped at some point um, during the last month. So this is the agenda for today. It's pretty much the different steps of the project, what's happened during the last 10 months, let's say, because we started last summer. Oh, way back. Okay. I thought during a minute that everything was lost, but it's all good. So last summer, just to remind you, it was during my first 6 months at Liip, so I had lots of things to learn, lots of new inputs and ideas. And this is during this period that Daria and Tom came to me during the summer. Well, summer was we had a little bit of time, and they came to me and they said, hello, we are UXer and designer, and we feel that most projects that we're doing here are about dev, and there are only few projects, especially for UX or design in Lausanne. And they also felt that they had a reduced external visibility. So in other words, that on the external channels like Facebook or Liip.ch, that their work just was not visible. And also they thought that they had a reduced internal visibility. In other words, that PO or other leapers, well, did not know about their work and their achievements. So in other words, we were seen as a tech company, awesome tech company, but they kind of felt that we could do something for them to have um, projects like the first part of the project, not just implementation. So this is when the project More UX at Lausanne started. There's a wiki page. You can check that. At the end of the slides, you have some links. So the idea was to do some internal and external actions. So we thought a bit, okay, what can we do? What kind of action can we undertake? Knowing that it had to be um, way back. It had to be sort of very efficient and quick and visible. So we thought, okay, we need externally to show our competences, meet the clients, and we can also share what we know. And internally, the idea was to train the biz dev and offer them some material to make the skills more visible. So we had lots of different ideas. It started with trying to have a higher visual quality of what we publish on the channels. So we thought it would be good to do some illustrations. So it meant that when we shared a blog post, we illustrated a quote, because quotes are very visual and they're easy to share. And this is something, for example, highly used with newspapers. When they have an article like Le Temps, if you know this newspaper, they use quotes to because it's easily shared. If people agree with the quote, they're just going to like and share. And we also did some illustrations to show that, well, there are some designers in house. Some people can actually do some stuff. And the idea is that we also use different channels. So we published this on Facebook, on Twitter, some of them on LinkedIn as well. And we had some campaigns. So it means we paid LinkedIn and Facebook just to have a greater reach. The other thing we thought would be highly useful was to actually meet the clients. And to meet the clients is to have well, you have to invite them or to go to meet them at some place. So our idea was to offer some workshops. And so we designed 4 different workshops that we could offer. And and then try to place them. So either at some event, we did that for one of them, and for the three others, we actually hosted them here, but it was under, as we will see, the cover of another organizations. So then, well, for me, this part was I had lots of communication work to do with the partners. I mean, the Swiss Marketing Association, to transmit the information, to give them pictures and texts. And then we also created a follow-up. So after the workshop, every participant got a MailChimp with the material we used and some further readings. The advantages is that we use the community of Swiss Marketing Vaud. It's the biggest community for marketing people here in Suisse Romande. It's really useful because it means that we offered the workshop, but we could enjoy visibility. Why didn't it change here? Oh, okay. So you can enjoy the visibility on all of their communication channels. They have a Twitter, they have a Facebook, and they have a newsletters, which was the most efficient. And they also have their website. So the idea is that we can reach all of the members, even though only a tiny part of the community actually comes to the Liip office. And then for the one who actually comes here, we have the opportunity to have like a very special contact with them, because there's the apéro afterwards and we can talk to them and just exchange business cards and stuff. So it's like a double advantages, because then I didn't spend too much time trying to promote the event on our channels, because we just enjoyed like the community channel.
Okay, we're changing the speaker. Hello, this is Tom. I've been doing those workshops, not alone. Daria was helping me, but today she's a bit on the hurry, so she cannot help us with that. So I will just present you what we did for the workshops, but it will be very broad, not too into detail. So what did we do? As she said, 4 workshops were organized and 3 workshops were held here at home at Liip Lausanne. The first one was made with Daria, and we wanted to introduce the audience with what is user-centered design. So we presented them a lot of theory and gave them a few things to use, like personas and empathy map. During the second workshop, it was me talking essentially about expert reviews or usability audits. And in the third workshop, again, I've been working alone and presenting user testing. And each time we took time to introduce the theory that was behind all those useful tools. And at the end, only people could play with it and exercise and really see the benefits of it. So during the first workshop, I worked very hard with Daria to make a nice and polished presentation about what is user-centered design. We presented them personas, and we worked with them to build user journeys. So using those persona and empathy maps, they were asked at the end to create a user journey for a very specific persona in a very specific use case. The second workshop was about, usability audits. So it's just like a security or performance audit. So, but the topic is about usability. So you take a UX expert and you put it into the shoes of an end user, and you ask him to perform tasks. So he will perform tasks, and as he is very smart, he will see every usability problem issue that will be on his path and document it and propose solutions. So to help them, I introduced them to the critères ergonomiques de Bastien et Scapin. It's somehow like the heuristics from Nielsen for those of you who have heard of him. And at the end, the activity was to run an expert review on the website that they had chosen for a very simple scenario. For example, log in into this website. Before logging in, you must create your account. Okay, so create your account on this website. And we had very nice findings just doing so. At the end, people realized that investing a few days into these usability audits can help them improving dramatically their products just by knowing what to do. So that's why I wanted them to realize that a few days with this could help them a lot afterwards. And the third workshop, in my opinion, it was the most funny one. I introduced them to what is, in fact, user testing. I presented them the slides that I've been doing last year for LeapConf. And at the end, we just run a real fake user testing session with someone from the audience. She was named Laurence, really funny girl. Okay, she was like the really average, perfect user that misses everything and runs and blah blah blah. So it was really cool, and people understood that even if sometimes websites could look good, they still have lots of usability issues. So during all those activities, I mean the 4 workshops and the outside communication, what was great is to see that in fact people were highly interested in joining those workshops, as it was sold out in less than half a day each time. We had very, very good and positive feedbacks from our partner, Swiss Marketing Vo, that told us that it was really not so common to have such good feedbacks. So that was really cool to hear that. We were perceived as a good UX services provider because for most of the people we had seen this during this workshop, we were also maybe the first UX services provider. And we were very happy to have fun with those people, because those workshops they lasted like almost 2 hours without including the apéro, and it was at the end of the day, so it was really important to keep them alive, and it was really really fun. Thanks to Daria as well. Unfortunately, a few things went wrong. So we wanted to introduce them with the theory. We think it's really important so that people can understand where things come from before using them. The thing is that maybe we have been too deep or too long into theory, and so it was difficult to find the perfect balance between theory time and practice time. It was like 50-50, but ideally we should lower the theory side to, let's say, 25%. On one of the workshops, I've been using a pretty negative tone to sensitize people concerning user testing, using metaphors like car crash, etc. And this is something too negative, and this is definitely not the best way to present things to people. We also had the difficulty to track the incomes. Okay, we have great feedbacks from the client, from the attendees. We have maybe 1 or 2 emails that come back, but it's really hard to see how efficient all those workshops were. And we've been asking ourselves that maybe the targeting is not great. Maybe we are trying to talk to the wrong people. We are talking to people who want to buy some UX, and we are currently talking to people who are not into networking because they already have the networks and they are here more for learning. So maybe we were not precise enough with the targeting. And the thing I learned hard is that when you have talented professionals in their 40s or 50s that are really in their head on the top of the marketing world, it's not so easy to make them collaborate and forget for 5 minutes that they are not UXers. So it was not so easy, but still fun. What we learned. I will ask Isaline to present this.
Okay, so what we learned is that there's an existing need, at least in Romandy, for knowledge. As Tom said, it was really quickly booked, and people were even asking for more. The targeting issue is really important. In fact, we already did the first workshop in another event, and we did a retro after that, and we realized that the targeting was wrong. And then we can thought about Swiss marketing. So the idea is where, and who are our potential clients. So this is a question to ask ourselves actually before we even think about selling something. Importance of personal contact. I realized that I could actually access the community of Swiss marketing because I went to some conference before during the year and I talked to people, and the places like the Chambre du Commerce, Handelskammer, I asked for that in Freiburg and Vaud and Geneva as well, but they just didn't answer, and it was really hard to contact them, and well, it just didn't work. We couldn't place our workshops, so I realized that my own network was actually really important here. The importance for us internally to have retro and review, we did actually during this project about 10 months, we had 3 different retro, and I think that was highly important for the efficiency of the project because it allowed us to see what actually did not work and what we had to do differently. And I think each step of the way we were more efficient, especially because it involved the coordination with Stephanie as well and Thierry, and to just to have some people attending the from Liip attending the workshops. And also when we are a host or a speaker, we have the opportunity to do some high quality networking because people can identify us and it's then easier to go and talk to people. Whereas where I go as Iseline to a conference, it's kind of harder to be seen and to be heard. And I think there has been some modification of our brand image because now I've heard like Kevin recently, and I think Laurent as well. They told me that some clients, existing ones as well, said, "Oh, but by the way, you're doing some UX as well. You're doing some workshop. I didn't know that. It's good." So we are one step ahead now, and I think I underestimated the time necessary to for the coordination. It's like a lot of time writing email, talking to people, and actually I felt like I was doing nothing, but it just because I have to call people trying to convince them that the idea is good and then talking again internally, and so it actually takes a lot of time also for the setting of the place. Just I mean moving the chairs around and preparing the apero, it sounds like nothing, but it actually takes a long time. And I think now what we need is like decide and think about the next steps, because now we have about a list of about 80 contacts who are quality contacts because we have met them and we know what they are interested in, and we have all sent them mailchimps after each workshops with material. And now what do we do with this?
Oh, wait a second. Again, Tom with the workshops. Woo. So maybe yes, it was difficult to find a good approach between giving theory and letting people play with the outcomes with the activities. So maybe it should be more appropriate to have a more conference mode approach, but it can be boring, like 2 hours during the very last period of the day. I'm not sure it would work, but still open point. Like I said already, we have targeted people who don't take time to network because they are already in a big network, and that's maybe not the best approach. One thing really important is that doing workshops with clients implies that they should be really willing to learn something actively. And it was not all time the case. So sometimes we had people who just didn't want to participate. Not so many, maybe one or two each time, but still, it's really annoying to see that when you spend so much time preparing your slides and your activities, and you see the guy just tweeting and not listening. Wow, terrible. So what should we do after that? Clearly, at the very beginning of the workshops, we only had like one slide to introduce Liip, and we should in fact take more time to introduce ourselves and say what we do, what we are, and maybe 5 minutes would be necessary to just set the context. And concerning questions, I have a question. What did you try on your side to sell prestations, activities that are difficult to say this way right now? Je peux pas les voir. Tu peux afficher les gens. Okay, now we see people. Any questions?
Oh,
Oh là là.
hello?
Ah.
So it's not really a question. It's because like you asked us what did we do to sell try to sell UX, right? No.
C'est Laura. Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yes, yes.
Because
Non, mais il y a 10 secondes de délai.
I'm sure that it took a lot of your time doing this, right? So I imagine doing these workshops and everything was maybe altogether a week of work or more. I don't know.
On a une loupe.
Hello?
Sorry, we have an echo here. So you were asking for how much time we invested on doing that?
Yes.
Okay, Laura, so I recognized your voice. I think we spent like 1.5 days to prepare each workshop, half a day to pass this workshop. And if you put everything together, the 4 workshops, it's like it can be up to 10 Mondays working with 2 or 3 people to prepare those workshops and lead them easily. And Isaline has something to add.
In fact, what we did is the at the very beginning of the project, when we wrote description of the workshop to be able for me to sell them to someone, um, we actually also planned how long it would take. So we created the project in Zebra to be able to track the project. I think there's also Jira tickets, and we 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 counted. I mean, I asked Daria and Tom how long they thought it would take to do it, so we can estimate the time necessary and try to keep it to that, not to expand it too much.
And this was an initiative from also you and the PO and two UXs, right? Like a project.
Yes, Laura, do you still hear us? Yes. Okay. It was indeed it was an initiative from. I think at the very beginning, I was the first one to rant about the fact that there was not enough business for 2 UXers, and as I was the second UXer, I was really concerned about generating more business for UX. So yes, I talked about that with Daria, and then we came back to Isaline when we heard that she had the magic skills to talk to people in a massive way. So we said, yeah, maybe she can help us.
And after talking with Daria and Tom, I actually went to Thierry to have a BizDev point of view. And I kind of looked for confirmation. Okay, is it actually difficult to sell these? And which workshop, which service in particular is difficult to sell and why? So I tried to with Thierry to target it a bit, to refine a bit the initial renting.
Any other question?
Next one.
No questions in Zurich anymore.
Okay, thanks.
No, no questions from Fribourg as well.
Hey, I would just like to add one more thing before we leave, because I think it's we have 5 minutes left. I would just like to say that it was pretty amazing, in fact, to open the doors to external people, to some organizations that we didn't know before. Yay! Hi guys. And there was this energy that came into our offices that we didn't know before, and we got to know also to see the frustrations of different profiles, marketing people or business people or entrepreneurs or big bosses and so on. So there were other insights as well that we got to know from those workshops that we did with Swiss Marketing Club. So I hope that this is going to motivate you to open your doors as well and offer those workshops, those 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour workshops in the evenings or in the mornings, also in your locations, because it's really worth doing it nevertheless. I think we all learn a lot doing that. So yeah,